Yes, sir.
Just sort of a follow-on. I mean, every other week I hear about a newspaper closing its door. What's the health of Stereophile?
The question is, for those who didn't hear it, is that, every week you hear of a newspaper closing its door or going online only. What is the financial health of Stereophile magazine? Well, we joke about it at work. We say, well, we have to tell our boss that, flat is the new growth. As I said, we are publishing thinner issues than when we normally do at this, because Stereophile historically has always had a policy of, for every page of advertising, we will match with a page of editorial. So the more advertising we get, the more editorial we can afford to give readers. And that formula has stopped working this year. We're no longer matching pages of advertising with one page of editorial. We're actually giving a little more than one page of editorial in order to keep the amount of content we're doing within the goals I want to do. So we are meeting our financial goals but those financial goals are, there's no growth in our industry. Fortunately, unlike newspapers, we are not heavily dependent on classified advertising. And that's where the newspapers really got hit hard. That they were getting so much of their income from classifieds, which has gone almost totally to Craigslist. And so they got fat and lazy and figured that would last forever and didn't develop alternative sources of revenue. And as happens in any kind of monoculture, it just takes one specific infection to bring the whole organism down. So magazines are in somewhat different condition, just because we have multiple sources of revenue. We have our website, we have our recordings, we have display ads, we do have some classified, we have newsstand sales. So state of health Stereophile is okay. It's not rosy, but it's okay.
I was just going to add that paper is at a historic high price right now, and that certainly affects the newspapers more. This would be an impossible time for a new magazine, a new paper ink magazine to start in North America. I can't see how anybody can do it in virtually any field.
It's a question that was coming up on the Stereophile forum at the time. People come on and they get angry about it. I wasn't quite sure where their mental position was coming from, but sometimes it's an issue that needs to be clarified. So I thought I'd ask the question here with this crowd. Why don't you have more negative reviews?
Why doesn't Stereophile publish more negative reviews? It's true. 90% of the reviews we publish are on the whole positive. What does that mean? Does that mean we're in bed with the manufacturers whose products we write about? Who would like to take that?
Well, I can't say for Stereophile, because I'm not an official of Stereophile, but I can tell you how I select products for review for myself. And that is to go around at a show like this, or at CES, or some printed dealers, and I look for products that interest me. So if I go into the monitor audio room, as I did here, and I thought, these Platinum 200s are a very nice sounding speaker. I heard the 300s last year, and I thought they were good, but they're a little bit big. These are smaller. I don't know if they're as good. Maybe they're even better. It's the latest generation. They seem reasonably priced for what they give you. I think I would like to spend some time listening to these and evaluate them. And that's my decision making. Now, as a result of that, I have no idea if that will come off. But if you can imagine the scenario a year from now, and let's say one possible scenario is that I've had the Platinum 200s and I've given them a positive review. Now, is it because I was predisposed to like them? Well, in a sense, but my predisposition came from listening. And I try to put that to a more extensive test by going through the full review process. And of course, there's always the measurement aspect. And I think most of us do it that way. We listen to products that we're interested in. There are some products that I've heard here that I listen to and I say, oh, that's kind of interesting. Would I want to spend some time, a significant amount of time, with this product at home myself? No, my time is too valuable to do that. And I'd like to select a product that has a high likelihood of being a positive review and a positive experience for me, and that I can recommend to Stereophile readers. They may still reject it for reasons of their own, and that's fine. But I look for products that are of interest to me, and that process will tend to select positive things. It's like, mentioning movies. Well, suppose that you looked at my evaluations of movies, DVDs that I've rented, and found that 80% of them I give a thumbs up afterwards. Now, does that mean that 80% of movies are good? No, because we're going to want to look at it and I say, well, this is the bloodiest thing since My Bloody Valentine. And I said, no, I don't think I want to see this. And so you won't see the review of My Bloody Valentine 6 from me. And it's that kind of thing. And sometimes I'm misled, and sometimes I get a movie on DVD for rent, and I watch 20 minutes of it, and I think, oh no, I don't want to spend another hour and a half watching that, and I reject it. If I had to write a review, I would say, no, this is not a movie that
I mean, the engine which drives our review selection process is the enthusiasm of our writers, because they want to write about things that they enjoy using, because to spend 6 weeks listening to a substandard product which underdelivers is miserable. And none of us are masochistic enough to want to have to submit ourselves to that, except on as Bob just pointed out, if that's the way it happens to fall. The real problem is that we only have room to publish reviews of maybe 75, full reviews of 75 products a year, with maybe another 50 or 60 covered in the arts column, and Michael's column, Cal Rubinson's column, John Marks's column. So that's 125 products we can write about in a year. And in that year, there may be 1,200 products introduced by the audio industry. So we have to select. And in the years I've been editing magazines, allowing readers and the writers' enthusiasms to govern the selection, I think has ended up the best way of doing it. I mean, the other way is for me to pick products at random and assign them. And that, there are writers where I do say, hey, Mark, why don't you try this? This might be something. I know you haven't heard this, but I have, and maybe you'd like it. But in the main, I rely on them to seek what they want to write about, and it works better than the other ways that I've tried. And the end result, of course, is, as you point out, that 90% of the reviews are positive. Now, I would temper that with the review is not just the reviewer's conclusions and descriptions. There is also the measurement section. And the reviewer may not have taken the car out on the skid track and tried to turn it over, but I do. So the reviewer will point out that this car has great handling and has great accelerator, great pickup to 0 to 60, and then I will say in the measurement section, yes, but if you go around a corner at more than 30 miles an hour, it turns over. And the review as a whole, even when it's positive, may still have caveats, which come from the measurement section. And manufacturers hate those measurement sections. A manufacturer was telling me recently that, we published a very positive review of a product, and the measurements pointed out that the product did have some limitations, and that those limitations would be an issue in some circumstances. And I said, well, yeah, but it's still a good product, right? But we gave it a good review, and the manufacturer said, sales stopped dead. Because in this climate, nobody wants to buy a product, apparently, that isn't perfect in every way. So he said, I am going to think twice before submitting anything more to Stereophile, because even if you give an honest review, it's not really what I need. And I can get a rave review on the internet from anybody rather than an honest review in Stereophile. So I said, okay, you do that, so, Stereophile will give you an honest opinion, but it may not be, when you say I want a review in Stereophile, actually a review in Stereophile may not be what you need.